On Wednesday, there will be a probable cause hearing in the state of Michigan. This is involving the case that brought by the Attorney General Dana Nessel. And it's not a perfunctory hearing. It's a real hearing. This is a case that has novel theories, and this is where cases get dismissed, is at a probable cause hearing. The question that the judge will be looking at is there a sufficient allegation that this law can be violated in this way? It'll be a question of fact regarding criminal intent. Can the fake electors be prosecuted for violating the law the way that they did in Michigan? And can they make it out, right? And we'll see a lot about the case at the probable cause hearing, because they have to show that they have probable cause that a crime occurred. And so we'll learn more about the substance of the case, their theory of the case. I think it's going to be a forgery theory, that they forged documents. So I think they'll win, but again, this is not perfunctory, it's actually substantive. And they're going to have to prove that there was an intent to defraud. They'll say that basically there's a dispute here, and there was a dispute in the election. Obviously, that's what the fake electors will say. And the government is going to have to prove that there was an intent to defraud. Now, let's remember there were 7 battleground states, right? Michigan was one of them, where Trump had, and through his fake lawyers, or actually real lawyers, but criminal co-conspirator lawyers, John Eastman and Ken Chesebro, and then of course there were other lawyers as well who I think are less serious lawyers, like Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis. But John Eastman and Ken Chesebro are real lawyers who have used their brain power and the power of the pen for bad. And they have used to be respected lawyers who are basically were in cahoots with Donald Trump to use the law as a weapon and to try to use it to steal the election. And one of their plans, in the mastermind of the plan, was to get these fake electors, right? Was to say this group of people who are the electors, they're going to just put in their own slate of electors, not the ones for Biden. Now, how does this work, right? In every state, we have, so the Constitution and the Electoral Count Act provides for the Electoral College, which means we don't really have a popular vote in this country the way you would kind of think. You have electoral votes, which means, and each state has different number of electoral votes. And, this is so that, like, people in the cities don't completely overpower people in the country. It's to kind of even it out so that everybody's voice counts, right? You don't want like concentration of numbers to overpower people who live remotely. And so I think the Electoral College is, every once in a while I hate it and think they should throw it out and do the popular vote only. But then there are times where you see it and you think, it actually works. But either way, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, that is our system. And the winner picks their electors, right? You're going to be, the Democrats pick Democratic electors, the Republicans pick Republican electors, and they go, the electors then go, they have to write their little electoral certificate. Each state has it specific in the law how it has to be. And in Michigan, for example, you have to be in the state house and you sign the document, and then that gets transferred to the Senate and the National Archives. The defense to this is what Trump's going to say is, there was a case in the 60s when Nixon and Kennedy were running against each other. I think it was the 60s. Was it the 50s? Maybe. Who knows? Nixon and Kennedy. And in Hawaii, it was a very, very close race. And they hadn't finished counting all the ballots. And I'm sure back then you had to do it mostly by hand, if not all by hand. And they had, at night, they had thought that they had called it for Nixon. And so Nixon assembled his electors, but it was so close that Kennedy what he did was he put in a group of alternate slate of electors just in case. He didn't say these are the real electors. These are the just in case I win, then these will be my people who go, right? These are the paperwork that gets filled out and sent, and these are the people, the electors that go. Well, it turns out when they counted the votes, Kennedy did win. And I think it was like by a handful of votes, and literally like a handful of votes. And so that alternate slate actually went. But there was never any doubt that it was more like a just in case group. Like it was, you have two groups and you use one or you use the other. Well, and that's common because sometimes you don't know who's going to win. If there's these, if a race is close, you will have two groups of people waiting in the wings, right? But in these states, at least the ones where cases and criminal cases have been brought, they went much further. They actually organized and had the criminal intent to get fake electors, put them in as real electors, and utilize this no matter what the vote is, no matter who technically wins, but put forth your slate of electors, cause confusion, and get the confusion so much that Mike Pence doesn't certify the election on January 6th, send it back down to the states and let the states decide how it goes. And if you do that, the Constitution specifically says that the time, place, and manner of federal elections are within the state's providence. And so they were hoping to get it sent back down to the states, which are largely Republican in their state houses, and get them to say, okay, we're going to put in whichever electors we want. It's literally trying to steal our democracy away from us. This is not how it's supposed to work. And so these fake electors in Michigan, basically, one of the things that the law says in Michigan, like I said, is they have to be in the building of the state house, and to do it. And so these guys, they were hiding out in the building the night before, trying to get in. Right? They were like sneaking in, and there was no pending court case in Michigan. Also, by the way, that was going to be. That they were challenging it. So it's not even like they have a good faith basis for saying that they were just standing by. But it's a question of fact for the jury, and there's no reason to believe that there was good faith. We were just in case people. And so I think that, that the Attorney General, Dana Nessel, will get past this hurdle at her probable cause hearing, and this will be an issue for trial. I think she'll be able to prove intent to defraud. And I think this is very similar to the case in Nevada. I say Nevada. I know that people in Nevada say Nevada. I've learned since I said it a few days ago, and I was talking to my co-host Popok about it, and I got lots of comments telling me I said it wrong, that it's Nevada. And I understand that, and I understand that's how people in Nevada pronounce it. But, look, I grew up speaking Spanish and English. Spanish and English were languages that I grew up speaking as a child. And Nevada is pronounced Nevada if you're a Spanish speaker. And it actually means snowy in Spanish. So for me, it's hard for me to say Nevada. It's Nevada to me, but, whatever. I digress. I just wanted to call it out there for all the people who asked me and commented why I say it the way I say it. And, look, Arizona, getting back to this, Arizona also has an open investigation. And, we'll see how that goes. And Georgia, we know, charged the electors. And, we'll see. I'm sorry, Arizona did charge electors. Apologies. So, it's hard to keep track of them all. But, some jurisdictions charged all of them. Like Fani Willis did a big sweeping case, right? They did a big sweeping case saying, that it's going to be everyone. We're going to charge Trump and Giuliani and Meadows and Eastman and, everybody down to the electors. And these other states that seem to have these open investigations, they're being a little more circumscript and just going for the fake electors. And they're not doing all of them. They're kind of doing the ones that masterminded it and that knew what they were doing, not the ones who were, tricked into it or just didn't know what they were doing. They were just following the advice of lawyers. And, the lawyers told us, So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. Look, if you go with the forgery theory, the document is false on its face. So I do think that will be very interesting. And we do know that Ken Chesebro is on a cooperation tour. He sought permission from Judge McAfee in Georgia to go speak to various states. And, as soon as he speaks to them, charges come. At least that's what's been happening. So, at least that's what happened in Nevada this week. And so let's see what ends up happening here. I do think Dana Nessel's investigation, against the 16 fake electors in Michigan, is going to prevail. I think the hearings this month, she's going to prevail. I don't think they're going to toss the case and say there's no probable cause, at least not to all of them, maybe a couple, who knows, but I don't think so. It's also been reported that she's looking at another Trump lawyer in addition to this fake electors, a guy named Ian Northorn, who was in contact with top Trump allies after 2020 and accompanied the fake electors when they tried to enter the Michigan State House. Apparently, he tried to persuade the state trooper who was guarding the door to let them into the state capitol, but they were rebuffed. And again, as I said, this is a key part of Chesebro's plan and others that they cooked up. And let's see how it goes. And as I said, Michigan requires them to meet at the state house, and I think that's pretty powerful evidence of their criminal intent. Also, after the election, this attorney Northon participated in conference calls with Trump attorneys Giuliani and Eastman, where they discussed how to contest the results. And Northon also had a call with Sidney Powell, and she asked him to join a lawsuit she was filing in Michigan about nullifying the election. He declined and filed a separate suit, but he was also forwarded the Chesebro memo. So I do think that's what's going on in Michigan, and I do think Dana Nessel will win her probable cause hearing this week, and I think we could potentially see other states to follow the lead of Georgia, Nevada, and Michigan. So we'll see what they all do, and I think it's important to hold people accountable at all levels. I think it's really important that all of the people who tried to participate in stealing the election be held to account. And Jack Smith and Fani Willis are bringing the big cases against the big people, but the little people, the electors, they were part of it too, and they need to be held to account. I'm Karen Friedman Agnifilo with Legal AF. Join me every Wednesday and Saturday.
Hey, Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.